line of life. I am not there. Okay, I don't care about my email. Don't care about how I'm dressed. Remember the guy that at NASA didn't change his clothes? He didn't give a damn about his clothes, and I don't either right now. I'm in a crisis state. Trying to help my mom and my kids. I'm trying to, I'm trying. But I'm off my center, man. I am in a crisis state. And nothing else really even matters a little bit to me right now except this, because I'm in such anguish, right? That's a crisis state. Now, relatively normal coping skills, support network, all of that. Eventually, I started crawling again. I got up on my knees and stood up, started moving again. My dad will always be on my plate, right? But he's smaller now. And my email's back on there, and my job, and my car, and all this other stuff, and all kinds of new stuff. That's how it works. That's how relatively normal coping skills, we all do it. Now, my trajectory on my lifeline is slightly off from what it was, because, like I said, it'll always be there. Then last year, I'm moving along again rather nicely, and my 11-year-old German Shepherd Sam dies. And I'm off my center again. Now, it's not as bad as when my dad died, but it's bad. It's real bad. And again, I'm there. I'm in that same sort of state for a while. Not as long and not as bad. Now, the reason I'm telling you this one is to prove the subjectivity of it. Almost anybody could be that way if their mother, father, loved one dies. But some people might say, that's just a dog. And some people do say that. I don't judge them. That's how they feel. But Sam was not just a dog. You understand? He was not just a dog. That's Sam. And so that's how it's subjective. And so what looks like a crisis state to me may not to you, or it may. The point is, if someone's in this, it's usually noticeable. People that know me, people that could even just look at me, I mean, strangers could probably tell it was that bad, but at work, whatever, it's noticeable. And all too often we don't notice. So that's what this kind of slide is saying. Before something gets to that, now sometimes it gets to that, like me, my dad dying, it's sort of a quick thing out of the blue, but a lot of times these crisis states, they don't just happen out of the sky. A lot of times they build to it. Frequency, duration, intensity. That's a happy sound for you, by the way. That means your break is imminent. There's your math formula, and you can't argue with it. You can try, I guess, but if we make people aware the right way, and we talk to them about frequency, duration, intensity, all of this, and we give them actions that are appropriate, good actions to take, and they're willing to take those actions, we will have some measure of prevention. How could you argue with that? So that's the whole goal here, right? We can all do something. It has to be the right thing. And just listening, another one, by the way, 5 seconds to touchy-feely land. We all want to be heard sometimes. And sometimes just being the person that will listen to somebody can help a lot. So let's all be that. I found this last week and immediately sent it to my daughters. And little things, man. We're all in these. We're in them all the time. And kids are even worse than us in them. Little things. The program, as it comes to full fruition, and even now, any program at any organization has to have certain things in it. A comprehensive program. Training is a huge part of it, of course. A lot of other things are. This program already has a lot of these things are functioning well right now. And it's going to be more orchestrated and more together once it comes to full fruition. And once a good program like that does come to full fruition, it needs to be advertised. They got to let everybody know that it's there, make them aware of it. Not just put them in a room like this and bore them death by PowerPoint once and then you're done, but recurring, keep it fresh so we don't slip back into denial. Maybe a video, 10-minute video here and there, or some statistics, whatever, something to keep it going. Let's stop punishing people until we're sure that they need to be punished, and maybe they're just a victim and they don't need punished. Maybe they need supported. And if you do all that, probably be getting better traction as a climate of trust and respect. And then us, and like my peon level and whatever level peonhood you're at, it falls on us if they go to all this trouble to make a nice program. Let's be aware of it and let's do our part. And what's our part? For example, right now, good news for you when you leave today, you're no longer free, not that you were, but you're no longer free to be in denial. You're no longer free to not talk about something that you know is wrong. We all have to do our part. And by the way, I keep saying denial, killing you twice and all that. if you know something's going wrong, if I know something's going on and I know it could get worse, and I do nothing, and then someone gets hurt to whatever extent, I have to live with that for the rest of my life. And that's an example of denial getting us twice, because it allows this behavior to get worse and maybe to a bad point. And then if it does, we have to live with knowing we maybe could have done something. So we don't want to be there. But we do want to go there. Golden rule time, right? Golden rule, treat everyone with respect. Do unto others, all of that. It's not going to happen 100%, but imagine if it did. Is that Marine dreaming again? Is he being idealistic? Okay, fine. Say everyone in the world did this for 1 month. All of us, every human being on the planet did that for 1 month. What would happen to the world? What would happen? I'll tell you what would happen. The world would explode in rainbows, and unicorns would once again roam the land. That's what would happen. But it won't happen. These I won't spend any time on because they don't apply to you. I could figure that out about you when you walked in the room, right? You know there's a problem. You want to be a part of the solution. Some of the inhibitors, maybe people didn't know what they could do with the problem. Maybe they didn't know there were people they could talk to. This is how we get rid of them, by conversations like this. So, these are on a handout that you're going to leave with. And they speak to if someone's, it's sort of patently obvious if someone's in danger, especially physical, like security danger, physical danger, right now, you got to do something. Okay, and again, it's on the handout. But if they're not in an immediate one, this is also on the handout, you still have to do something. And here's what you can do and should do, right? So we won't ignore them because they will not go away. They will get worse. Frequency, duration, intensity. And if we do that, so we just finished talking about prevention. If we do it, we will have some prevention, okay? But sometimes prevention fails. And sometimes you're not in your workplace. And so you really didn't have much chance to prevent anyway. Sometimes really bad things happen, okay? So we're going to go to our break in a second. And when you come back, we're going to finish by talking about active shooters. To give you a little info on how they become active shooters. And then most importantly, what you can do when you find yourself there, somewhere, wherever it is, and someone's killing people, right? So when we go through these, I'm going to ask you to do this when you come back. As we go through these slides and this discussion, use your imaginations and visualize and picture yourself there. There's a couple of short videos we'll show you. As you're watching it, put yourself there. Imagine it. It's important, okay? It's important for 2 reasons. I'm asking you to do this. It's not comfortable to do, but I'm asking you for 2 important reasons. The first reason is something called stress inoculation, okay? And I'll talk to you about that after, tell you what that means. And the second reason is if you do that, if you imagine, if you put yourself there, if you personalize it in your great relational database of a mind, you will have far greater retention of the material. It will stick more. Because when something's personal, we remember it better, okay? So for those 2 reasons. So let us take exactly 10 and come back. And thank you very much, by the way.